Hey, it's Hunt. You found Hunt on Saints. We're talking black and gold football. Do us a favor. Hit the like button, share your comments below, and hit that subscription button so you can get all of our content. Enjoy. Let's head down to NOLA. Sharief Ishaq, WDSU, with us here on the Jim's Firearms Hotline. Sharief, how are you, sir?
Doing well.
Saints 1-0. Not the prettiest, but effective nonetheless, no?
You know, I think everybody thought it would be smash mouth football going into the game, and that's exactly what we got. A couple of offenses really struggling, but two very solid defenses doing its part in that game to keep it a low-scoring contest. And, hey, we thought that both teams were top 5, top 10 defenses, and that's exactly what we saw in the game.
Let's talk about the decision that both coaches made late. Mike Vrabel decided to kick a field goal and put his defense back on the field, cut that lead down to just one. And the Saints, when they got the football third and short, had an opportunity to potentially run it and punt and decided to take a shot down the field. What did you think of those two decisions, one by Vrabel, one by the Saints staff?
I don't hate Vrabel's decision as much as many other people do because you have a good defense and all the timeouts. You essentially had 4 timeouts with a 2-minute warning.
Yep.
And the way that defense was playing, you put them out there and you trust them to get you the ball back and set up for a possible game-winning field goal. I do not hate the decision by Mike Vrabel. Now, if this was last season, Dennis Allen, it would have been run, punt.
That's what I said.
Do I really love that decision? I mean, you just saw the video they posted on Twitter maybe an hour and a half ago where Derek Carr was like, give me another shot, and he told Rashid, just run fast. Man, and I really loved it. I love that decision. Hey, man, scared money don't make money, and he did exactly that, man. They ran that play. He was wide open. They must have seen something in that defense that would allow them to get Rashid Shaheed down the field, and man, did he ever get behind that secondary. He throws that ball a little bit more inside it, and it might be a touchdown. However, I think it worked out well because if they had had a touchdown, then they might have had a chance to come back down there and tie the game and maybe go for two and tie the game. But, I thought it worked out perfectly. I like that decision by Dennis Allen and Pete Carmichael to throw it.
What did you make of David Carr's debut?
I thought he played much better than people thought. I thought he played very solid. If the offensive line plays, a little bit better, his numbers probably go closer to 400, and he has another touchdown. I still think that Rashid Shaheed sideline end zone was a touchdown. His knee was down. He had possession of the ball. You look at the snapshots. I mean, he made some really good throws. I thought he made 2 bad throws, the interception, and there was another one along the sideline near the 50-yard line, left sideline towards the Saints sideline, where the cornerback also cut it off, kind of like the interception. He made maybe 2 bad throws, and that was it. For the most part, I thought he played well. The offensive line didn't give him much help. He stepped up in the pocket when he had to, and the offensive line struggled. But I think if they played just a little bit better, he has much better numbers than that. But overall, good debut for Derek Carr, and I only expect him to get much better as the season goes on.
What did you think of the way that Ryan Tannehill played? And I would say, well, they're not going to play anybody as bad as Tannehill, but wait a second. I look at the schedule and they go, well, most of the quarterbacks are like Tannehill.
Well, he went to Texas A&M. You should know how that was going to go. He's not good.
That.
He's just absolutely awful. He's an awful quarterback.
Yeah.
And the Saints made him look exactly like we thought he was. He was, that one to Paulson to Debo Hunt, you could have intercepted. Your son could have intercepted. He did not make good decisions. On top of that, though, the Saints made him make bad decisions because of the pressure up front. That was one of the question marks going into the season. How good would that defensive line be? They hit him 10 times in that game. Last season, they were bottom 5 in the NFL in quarterback hits. They put up 10 hits in that game and sacked him 3 times. I think a lot of that credit goes to the defensive line and the job they did to get to Ryan Tannehill and force some of those bad decisions.
Who'd you like specifically on the defensive front?
Carl Granderson. I really like what Carl Granderson did in that game a lot. I mean, should be no surprise now. He's really, for the last couple of years, has really improved his game and has really become a dominant force along that edge, man, for the Saints. And they're going to need him. They're going to need him a lot now that, Peyton Turner's out of the mix for a long time with a turf toe. But I like what he did. And I also like what Brian Brzee did. Brian Brzee, half a sack. I mean, and he also had another pressure, another hit. So that's a good welcoming sign for the rookie.
So we know that Peyton Turner goes out, and we know that Tana Passanio is now the number 1 reserve at defensive end. Does Isaiah Foskey factor in here? Do they dip to the practice squad, or do they need to go to free agency? Based on what I was told, I never saw one snap of training camp. Foskey's not ready. You saw it all. What do you think?
Not ready. Not ready is the correct term. He is not ready yet. I wouldn't be surprised if he look, if they have him on the active roster this week, just because. But I also wouldn't be surprised if he's a healthy scratch and Tano and the rest of the guys get more run. He's just not ready. Everyone is right. He's not ready. I just think that he was progressing throughout the preseason, those preseason games. Just don't think he's ready. The only way you get him ready, obviously, is to play him and throw him in the active roster. Maybe down the line, or even this week, a Monday night game, you might give him a sniff or two and get him out there just so he can be ready. It's a second-round pick. You never want a healthy scratch for your second-round pick for so many games.
What about Trevor Penning? Concerns there? Or are you okay with the way he played?
Well, you can't sugarcoat it. It was a bad game for him.
Yeah.
It was a bad game for the offensive line as a whole. Like Dennis Allen said it yesterday, it wasn't a great performance by the offensive line. Sunday, he said he wasn't concerned. It almost feels like he's going through the growing pains because he really didn't play that much last season. He played 6 games before he had the Lisfranc injury, and that knocked him out. So I'm not concerned yet. I just still think it's like kind of partial rookie season for him as he's trying to come back from like the injury, and he's not, fully there yet. It's a tough assignment to go against that defensive line. I understand it's Arden Key and it wasn't really Simmons pushing him and bullying him, but the first real test after all that, and it's a defensive line like that. Not easy, but not concerned yet. I do think they will probably game plan it a little bit better with Brian Burns against Panthers and get him a little bit of help. But I think he plays a little bit better as the season goes on. He has to. There's no other choices other than him playing better now. Anything
else that concerns you in game one?
I had no concerns outside of what I saw with the offensive line. I mean, if the offensive line cannot block, they're not going to be able to run. They did not run the ball well. I mean, they had 69 rushing yards. Jamal Williams' biggest run was the final play of the game. It took you almost 60 minutes to have your longest run for 11 yards. Without that offensive line, they're not going to be able to run the ball the entire season. And I understand it helps, if they had Alvin Kamara. But man, look, the line's not. If they are not getting their push, and they're getting beat up the middle, there's no chance of them running the ball against anybody. And that's a little concerning. It's just the offensive line to me, just a bit concerning. I had no issues with the defense. They had maybe 1 or 2 plays that, but you're not going to be perfect in a game. Derrick Henry caught him on that 46-yard screen and maybe one other play by Tajay Spears. But, I mean, you can't really complain. You can't complain much from the defense. They maybe could have picked off Tannehill 2 more times. Marshawn Lattimore and Amadi had a ball hit him right in their hands and would have been 5 interceptions. But, they played a near perfect game. But it'd be offensive line for me, number one.
All right, on to Carolina. What's the biggest thing for the Saints on Monday night?
Rookie quarterback making his debut.
Yeah.
It's just making his home debut is coming off that game. Everyone's like, Saints should absolutely pummel them. And look, they may. It's one of those crazy, weird scenarios. Last season, we thought that the Saints would absolutely crush Baker Mayfield and going into Carolina, and that did not happen. It was the opposite. It was an absolutely horrible game in every facet. I mean, offense, defense, special teams, it was just miserable. It was garbage. It was bad to watch last season. Much different team. I do think they're going to be more prepared. I mean, you're getting Bryce Young. Look, man, you give him a little pressure, you let him float the ball in the middle. You saw Jesse Bates pick him off twice. Playing, you got to have that pretty good free safety who's just locked in on him and watching his eyes, because you get him to throw some of those balls down the middle like that, you have a chance to get a few more picks like you get against Tannehill. But you got to get to Bryce Young. That is the number one thing, is get to the rookie quarterback, rattle him early on, and just contain run game. I mean, they got Miles Sanders. They got some solid running backs. I mean, that's a team. I think that team is a solid team with a good defense. That's the thing about that team is their defense. No J.C. Horn has a hamstring injury, but their defense could possibly give the Saints some trouble up front. That's got to find a way. Like I said, the offensive line has to just find a way to give Carr in that running game a little bit of time, and they'll be just fine.
Hey, it's on. Thanks for watching Hunt on Saints. Before you leave, help us out a little bit. Hit that like button, leave your comments in the section below, and hit that subscribe button so you get all our content right here from Hunt on Saints. We'll see you next time.